Life in Kansas is just better with a dog, right? Whether you're in Old Town Wichita or out exploring the Flint Hills. But how do we get them ready for all those adventures? Well, that's what we're going to talk about today. We'll break down how to find that perfect training partner for you and your pup right here in our state.
It's pretty simple, really. A well-trained dog is a happy dog. And honestly, a happy owner too, because when your dog is confident and knows the ropes, you can bring them more places, you can share more things together. It just makes that bond so much stronger. Think about it. A simple walk, a visit with family, it all just becomes easier and more fun.
All right, so here's our game plan. We'll start with what makes training unique here in Kansas. Then we'll get into defining your own goals, how to find a qualified trainer, and finally, the payoff, putting it all into practice.
Okay, Section 1, Training for Kansas Life. And you might be thinking, dog training is dog training, right? Well, yes and no. There are definitely some things that are kind of unique to living here in the Sunflower State. A good trainer in Kansas just gets it. They understand we've got this wild mix of busy city life and huge open spaces. So one day your dog needs to handle a crowded sidewalk in Wichita, and the next, maybe they need to know how to be chill around livestock on a friend's farm. And, oh yeah, what about those summer storms? That's a big one for a lot of dogs on the Great Plains. Or navigating a busy farmer's market. A trainer here should be thinking about all that real-world stuff.
All right, Section 2, Defining your training goals. So once you know why you're training for Kansas life, it's way easier to figure out what you and your dog actually need to work on.
So I want you to just pause for a second and think about this. What are your primary training goals? What's that one thing, maybe two things, that would just make your life so much easier if it got better? Is your arm sore from leash pulling? Do you get that panic when your dog won't come back at the park? Be honest with yourself here.
And you know what? You're not alone. A lot of us are working on the same stuff. You see the list here. The basics, like sit and stay, of course, but also the big ones. Leash pulling, barking, jumping. Oh, the jumping on people. Or maybe it's a new puppy, and you just want to get socialization right from the start. Whatever it is, zeroing in on your main goal is going to be a huge help.
So how do you get that help? Well, there are a few ways. You've got private lessons, which are great for really focused one-on-one attention. Then there are group classes, awesome for getting your dog used to being around other dogs. In-home training is perfect for things that happen at home, like maybe barking at the mailman or getting too excited at the door. And then there's board and train. It can be a really intense jump start, but you got to remember, you're the one who has to keep it going when they get home.
Okay, on to Section 3, Finding a qualified trainer. This is a big one. How do you vet the professionals and make sure you're getting someone good?
The very first thing to look for is a trainer who uses positive reinforcement. What that means is they focus on rewarding the good stuff, the behaviors you want to see with things like treats or praise. It's not about intimidation or fear. It's all about building trust. And honestly, it just works. It makes training fun for your dog, which is how it should be.
This is really interesting. In Kansas, there's no official state license for dog trainers. That means these certifications you see here are extra important. They're a sign that a trainer takes their education seriously and stays up to date. So, for everyday manners, something like a CPD-TK is a fantastic thing to see. But if you're dealing with bigger behavioral issues, like some serious fear, you might want someone with a more specialized certification, like a CBC-CK.
Okay, so when you're actually talking to a trainer, here's your cheat sheet. These are the questions you absolutely want to ask. What methods do they use? Ask to see their certifications. Do they make a custom plan for each dog, or is it one size fits all? You get the idea. The answers they give you will tell you pretty much everything you need to know.
All right, let's talk money. It's a big part of the decision, right? This chart gives you a pretty good idea of the average cost for training here in Kansas. As you can see, something like a 6-week group class is often pretty affordable. But then you look over at a multi-week board and train program, and yeah, that's a much bigger investment. This should help you kind of line up your budget with the type of training you're thinking about.
And our last section, practice and payoff. Because after you've found that great trainer, it's all about putting those skills to work in the real world, right here in Kansas.
Now, if you've brought home a rescue dog recently, this is for you. It's called the 3-3-3 rule, and it's just a great way to remember to be patient. The first 3 days, they're just decompressing. After 3 weeks, they're starting to figure out your routine. And it can take a full 3 months for them to really feel secure and at home. Any good training plan is going to take that into account.
Here's a quick but really important tip on gear. A standard 6-foot leash is your best friend for training. Seriously, it gives you way better control, which is what you need when you're working on polite walking. Plus, it's what's required by most local leash laws anyway. Those retractable leashes, they can actually make it harder to teach good manners and can be a bit of a safety hazard too.
And once you've learned a new skill, you have to practice it. And not just in your backyard. You've got to take it on the road. Here are some awesome spots all over Kansas to do just that. You can practice loose leash walking at Heritage Park or work on recall at the dog park in Wichita. Getting out there with some real-world distractions is how the training really sinks in.
And that's really what it all boils down to, isn't it? It's that magic combination of using humane methods, practicing consistently, and getting that expert guidance from a good trainer. You put all those pieces together, and you get a dog who's confident, who's a great companion, and who you can take pretty much anywhere in our community. So best of luck finding that perfect training partner for you and your dog. A well-trained pup just opens up your world. It makes a walk downtown less stressful, a visit to your family's house more relaxed. Heck, it even makes just hanging out at home more peaceful. It really is a more joyful experience for both of you.